Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LiveWire film reviews via YouTube. This is like the best time of the year because we're going to give you the best of 2017. And here is my list. Honorable mentions go to films that I really love, but ultimately couldn't make it on the list. We have the Defiant Ones, HBO special on Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. We had Stronger, All the Money in the World, Darkest Hour. We also had fanfare comic book films like Wonder Woman, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Thor Ragnarok was amazing. And we also have films like Mother and The Disaster Artist that were also great as well. Wish I could put these films on the list, but I can't. I mean, it breaks my heart to say that not even Blade Runner 2049 made it to my top 10, but I love that film. Here we go.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 10, It. Andy Muschietti's adaptation to Stephen King's beloved horror novel about Pennywise the dancing clown and the kids of Derry. This film was amazing, truly amazing. It did not stray from the book at all. It expanded upon and gave you a better focus and scope of the TV adaptation in 1990. This film was just unexpectedly fun. It rose to the occasion. It surpassed my expectations. Again, it's not the most perfect film, but it was the most funnest I had going to the movie theaters this year.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 9, we have Wind River. This is Taylor Sheridan's drama thriller set on an Indian reservation. We had two people looking for the unsolved murder and rape of this poor Indian woman. This film just really hit home. It came with the feels. It had an impactful ending. It gave you something to go home with. This was a taut, suspenseful thriller with a lot of heart, a lot of strength, a lot of emotion, spearheaded by great performances by Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. I loved Wind River.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 8, we have 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Sorry, that's a mouthful to say. But this film was great. It's an ensemble cast. We have Frances McDormand, we have Woody Harrelson, we have Sam Rockwell giving strong performances. This film was seeped in drama and it was very relative to today's society. We're talking about the issue of police brutality, accountability by police as well. This was just one of these grassroots activist films that really took the task of the issues that we face in headlines today. This was a tale of a mother's search for her daughter's killer. Again, this film just really hit home. Great performances, and I am sure that Frances McDormand will get that Oscar nomination, if not the win, for Best Actress this year.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 7, we have The Lost City of Z. This film just came out of nowhere. It was a small film directed by James Gray, and again, it reminded me of the films of yesteryear. These films don't come around too often. It's old-fashioned filmmaking at its finest. We had Charlie Hunnam giving the best performance of his career thus far. Again, this is coming from someone that is not particularly a fan of Charlie Hunnam. We also had Robert Pattinson making a great supporting actor as well in this film. This film told the tale of a famed explorer in search of the riches and culture in Amazonia.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 6, we have Baby Driver. This is directed at the helm of Edgar Wright. I was anticipating this film so much, especially for my love of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This film was amazing, action-packed, had a great ensemble cast as well. Again, this year had great ensemble casts in their films. This film had Ansel Elgort, Jamie Foxx, John Hamm, and Kevin Spacey. This film was amazing. It was non-stop action, no holds barred action that just kept your attention, was also funny, vibrant, and it had that super kinetic action that Edgar Wright brings to the table every time he comes out with a feature. This film was just seeped in this kind of cool world of bank robbery and heists that go awry. This film I loved better than any other Fast and the Furious franchise film. This film is amazing. Baby Driver is one of my favorite films.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 5, we have the indie beloved Lady Bird. This is the directorial debut of Greta Gerwig. She also writes the film as well. This film was just amazing. It was a little slice of life. It almost felt so retro. The film had this kind of 80s vibe to it, even though it's set in 2002. Again, this is during a way different administration. We were in the Bush administration, war in Iraq. Again, this was very volatile times that we were going through. And this is told in the scope of a young teenage girl trying to find her way in Sacramento, California. She is not getting the grades that she needs to in order to get into the Ivy League schools of her choice. Again, choices that her mother would not make. This film is just seeped in reality. Maybe hits too much close to home, especially with the market crash. Again, families that were riddled with debt and could not afford their kids to go to college. Again, we can all relate with any character in this film, and there were plenty performances. Laurie Metcalf and Tracy Letts played the parents of Saoirse Ronan, and Saoirse Ronan was a knockout in this film. I love this film to death. It was one of those indie gems of the year. Goes to Lady Bird. That's it at number 5.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 4 is Christopher Nolan's war epic Dunkirk. It was a spectacle of sorts, shot in 70mm, and that's the way you should have saw it in theaters. This film had that grainy, volatile look to it, very visceral look of war. Again, it took a moment of war and ran with it. You didn't follow a specific main character. There were many characters in this film, Tom Hardy and others. This film was just a great look at war. It was a spectacle to see. It was more of a spectacle than anything else. It wasn't, character or narrative driven. This was just a moment in time in war. It was just an amazing ride. This was one of the most greatest film achievements of this past year in 2017, and that goes to Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 3 goes to Call Me By Your Name, another indie gem that dealt with homosexuality, sexual identity. Again, this was a slice of life and also a period piece set in the 80s in Italy. You got to see the scenery of Italy. Italy itself was a character in this film. It follows Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer. It was a story of love and compassion. And again, sexual identity and awareness. This film was just, it blew me out of the water. I was not expecting the emotional severity of the film, and it hit home. Anybody could relate, whether you were heterosexual or homosexual, does not matter. It's about your first love. We've all been there during the summer when it's hot. It showed everything so beautifully, and I just love this film and its message. Again, this is a story relatable to anyone who's gotten their heart broken. This was Call Me By Your Name.
You like me right now. You like me.
Number 2, Get Out. This is Jordan Peele's a psychological thriller with a little bit of humor in it. Again, this film was just amazing. Another film that just came out of left field. People were not expecting the achievement of Jordan Peele. I think on paper it just sounded good, but not until you were in the theater itself did you experience and were exposed to this farce, this dark satire comedy with a lot of psychological thriller elements. Again, it was almost like a horror film. This is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner meets Stepford Wives. This was just an amazing story riddled with a lot of themes and a very relevant piece of social justice that we face in today's society. In Trump era, we needed the film like Get Out. and that sits at number 2.
You like me. Right now. You like me.
Number 1 happens to be the best film in my eyes. Best animated film goes to Disney Pixar's Coco. Now, you know why it's special to me. I love the fact that it just embraces Mexican heritage and culture, and it was set in a Disney atmosphere. I don't think Disney's ever been this culturally aware in quite some time. I guess in this time that we're living in currently, we are just blessed to have these kind of stories come to the big screen. Set in the backdrop of Dia de los Muertos. Again, this film just dealt with a lot of Mexican culture, told a story of a boy crossing over to the land of the dead and having to come back to the land of the living, but with the help of his present and past family members. It just hit home with me. I love this film. Its sentiment, I had to see it 3 times in the theaters. I love this film to death. It inspired me, broke my heart in the most tender of moments. I love how Disney Pixar took Mexican heritage and culture and really gave it some, seriousness and severity. And it was just a great, awesome animated family film. Number 1 film to me, Disney Pixar's Coco, and it should be yours as well. Again, this is Peter Man. What's up from LiveWire Film Reviews. Be sure to check out our videos. Make sure that you make 2018 our biggest year to date by hitting that subscribe button, and also have yourself a wonderful day. As always, this is Peter Man. What's up from LiveWire Film Reviews.